You hear that? That's the sound of a kid who sold his kidney, his eye, and his testicle just to eat, pulling a ripcord out of his chest and turning into the most dangerous weapon on the planet. Today, we're going through every episode of Chainsaw Man Season 1. Trust me, nothing in this show goes the way you think it will. Let's get into it. Chainsaw Man is a dark, action-packed anime made by Studio Mappa, set in an alternate 1990s Japan where monsters called devils exist. These devils are born from human fears, so the scarier something is to people, the stronger the devil becomes. Our main guy is Denji. He's a teenage boy living in total poverty. His dad killed himself and left behind a mountain of debt to the Yakuza. You know, the Japanese mob. Now Denji has to pay it all back by hunting devils for pennies. This kid has sold a kidney, an eye, and even a testicle just to survive. Yeah, it's that bad. His only friend in the whole world is Pochita, a tiny, adorable dog-like creature who's actually the Chainsaw Devil. He's got a little chainsaw sticking out of his head, and he's been with Denji ever since they met at his dad's funeral. That's all you need to know. Let's jump in! Episode 1. The first episode hits you like a truck. In the real world, Denji and Pochita kill a devil called the Tomato Devil for the Yakuza. They do the job, bring back proof, and after the mob takes their cut for fees and interest and management costs, Denji's left with 1,800 yen. That's like $15 for risking his life. The kid can barely afford bread. Then the Yakuza offer him a big job at an old factory. Easy money, they say. But when Denji shows up, they turn on him. Turns out the Yakuza made a deal with the zombie devil. They stab Denji from behind, chop him up, and toss his body in a dumpster like trash. Pochita tries to save him but gets hurt bad. Both of them are dying. But Pochita makes one final deal. He gives Denji his heart so he can live. The only catch, Denji has to chase his dreams and let Pochita experience them too. Denji's body rebuilds itself. He pulls a cord on his chest, like starting a lawnmower, and chainsaws explode out of his head and arms. He becomes Chainsaw Man, rips through the entire zombie army, and saws the zombie devil clean in half. After the carnage, a mysterious woman named Makima shows up from public safety, the government's devil hunting agency. She is confused as Denji neither smells like a devil nor like a human. Then she hugs him, and he instantly transforms back to human. She gives Denji a choice: work for her or die. Denji looks at this kind woman offering him food and shelter and says yes without thinking twice. He even asks her what's for breakfast. Episode 2. Denji wakes up in Makima's car, bandaged and confused. She lays down the rules. He belongs to her now. If he disobeys, they'll put him down like a dog. Denji doesn't care. Makima smells nice. She's kind to him and she buys him udon noodles for breakfast. This kid literally cries eating a bowl of noodles because he's never had a real meal before. At Division 4 headquarters in Tokyo, Denji meets his new partner, Aki Hayakawa. Aki is a serious chain-smoking hunter who hates devils. To scare Denji off, Aki drags him into an alley and beats on him. But Denji doesn't flinch. He's been through way worse. When Aki won't quit, Denji kicks him square in the groin 3 times. Aki goes down, but he actually respects Denji after that. A real devil wouldn't react to pain like a human. They go on patrol, find a fiend, basically a devil wearing a dead person's body, and Denji slices it apart without transforming. The episode ends with a bang when their new teammate Power shows up. She's the Blood Devil, pink hair, horns, and the biggest ego you've ever seen. She bursts in bragging about catching some random devil and tosses it aside like garbage. This team is going to be a beautiful disaster. Episode 3. Power is loud, annoying, completely unhinged, and also a total liar. But Denji doesn't care about any of that because she makes him an offer he physically cannot refuse. If he helps her rescue her kidnapped cat, Meowie, she'll let him touch her chest. That's it. That's the deal. And that's all the motivation Denji needs. He instantly switches from mildly irritated teammate to hyper-focused rescue operative. In his mind, this isn't just about saving a cat anymore. This is a life mission. Power leads Denji out to a rundown building on the edge of the city. She explains that a devil took Miaoi hostage and demanded a human in exchange. Denji, blinded by his goal, barely questions anything. He's too busy imagining the reward waiting at the end of this mission. But the second they get inside, the trap snaps shut. Power suddenly forms a massive blood hammer and smashes Denji straight in the face. No hesitation, no remorse. She knocks him out cold and drags his body inside like a sack of meat. Turns out she made a deal with the Bat Devil. Bring him a human and she gets Miaoi back. Simple trade. When Denji wakes up, he's dangling in the Bat Devil's grip. The Bat Devil is massive, grotesque, wings stretching across the room, teeth like knives. He mocks Denji, squeezes him, and drinks his blood to regenerate his missing arm. But then he complains. Denji's blood tastes disgusting, not fresh, not satisfying. So instead of honoring the deal, the Bat Devil does something even worse. He swallows Miaoi whole. Power freezes. The one thing she betrayed Denji to save is gone in an instant, and before she can react properly, the Bat Devil grabs her too, and swallows her as well. Denji watches all of this happen. At first, he looks numb, then angry, but not just because he got tricked. He remembers what it felt like when he thought he lost Pochita. That panic, that hollow feeling, and for the first time he understands power. So he pulls the cord on his chest. Chainsaws erupt from Denji's head and arms in a spray of blood. He explodes out of the Bat Devil in a brutal burst of gore. The fight crashes out of the building and into the city. Civilians scream and scatter. Buildings crack. The Bat Devil takes to the sky, slamming Denji through walls and concrete, trying to shake him off. But Denji refuses to let go. Even after being battered through multiple structures, he keeps coming. He climbs onto the Bat Devil's body mid-air, digging his chainsaws into its flesh. The devil tries to flee higher into the sky, but Denji anchors himself and begins sawing downward. He slices the Bat Devil from head to groin in a savage full-body split. The devil crashes down, and standing in the wreckage is Denji, covered in blood, breathing heavy, victorious. Episode 4 opens in the aftermath of absolute carnage. Denji and Power are literally surrounded by the Bat Devil's intestines, and somehow Power is awake, holding Miaoi alive. Why did he save her? Denji answers in the most Denji way possible. He points at her chest. That's it. Power thinks this is unbelievably stupid, but she's also just watched her entire plan collapse, nearly lost Miaoi, and realized against her will that she actually cares about something. So she apologizes, says she'll make good on the deal, and tells Denji he can touch her chest. Denji lights up like he just won the lottery. He raises his arm, and it gets ripped off midair. It hits the ground, and a new devil, this gross, slimy nightmare called the Leech Devil, picks it up and eats it like a snack. Now Power is panicking because she can't even move right, and Denji is trying to pull his chest cord to transform. But only a tiny little chainsaw pops out. He's running low on blood, meaning he's running low on everything. The Leech Devil instantly pieces it together. Denji killed the Bat Devil, her man. The Leech Devil is like, I should kill you. And then she's like, wait, you're kinda cute though. She even considers letting Denji go, but only if she gets to kill Power and eat Miaoi. So Denji has a choice. He can either run and survive or fight and probably die, just to save the girl who betrayed him and the cat he barely cares about. He chooses option 2. Because apparently he has standards now, or maybe he's just stubborn. Either way, he squares up. The fight is chaotic and ugly. Denji is dodging her attacks, sprinting around like a maniac, taking cheap shots where he can. He actually lands a punch, barely, then gets swatted away like a bug. The Leech Devil mocks him, saying he seems way too weak to have killed the Bat Devil. Then she starts romanticizing their dream, like she and the Bat Devil wanted to wipe out humanity together, a noble and romantic dream. And that's when Denji snaps, because his dream gets laughed at constantly. Everyone treats him like he's pathetic because his goal isn't revenge or justice or saving the world. He charges again, manages to slice into her neck with his tiny chainsaw, then keeps ranting louder and louder as he fights harder and harder, like pure rage is the only fuel he has left. At one point, he grabs a long piece of intestine and wraps it around the Leech Devil, yanking it tight like a rope. Denji getting crazier, the Leech Devil getting annoyed, both of them throwing everything they've got. And just when it looks like Denji might actually pull off the dumbest victory in history, the Leech Devil pierces him straight through the chest with her tongue and drops him. Denji is cooked. But before she can eat him, Aki Hayakawa shows up, and he just says one word, "Kon." And the Fox Devil appears like a giant nightmare head in the sky and bites the Leech Devil's head clean off. It's so fast, it's kinda disrespectful. After that, the cleanup is pure public safety business as usual. Aki Hayakawa confirms the kill, gives orders, and we see the difference between Denji's chaotic brute force and an actual professional devil hunter who fights with contracts and experience. Denji wakes up in the hospital and learns they recovered his arm. It just needed blood infusion to reattach. Like, that's a normal Tuesday. Aki explains how devil hunters get power. They form contracts with devils and pay with parts of their body. In Aki's case, the Fox Devil takes a bit of his skin. Aki tells Denji he knows Power tried to kill him. If he files the full report, Power will be disposed of, and Denji will be punished for covering it up. But since no civilians died and 2 devils were eliminated, Aki offers a deal. Follow his lead and stop causing problems and he'll let it go. Denji agrees. Later, Aki Hayakawa reports to Makima. He spins the story cleanly. They went outside patrol, found a devil, Denji killed the Bat Devil. Division 4 handled the Leech Devil. No Gun Devil flesh recovered, and no fatalities. Makima accepts it, but points out something interesting. Aki seems more flexible now, and she wonders if that's because of Denji's influence. Finally, we get the setup for the rest of the season. Domestic hell. Aki is trying to live a normal, clean, structured life. He's making coffee, doing chores, cooking curry, then there's violent knocking at the door and Power kicks it in like she owns the place. Makima has assigned Power to live under Aki's care too, and she promised to behave. Aki is already dead inside. At lunch, Power sees vegetables, picks up her plate and just throws them away. Then she clogs the toilet because she doesn't like flushing every time. Then she casually admits she doesn't bathe much either. Ew. Denji and Aki are horrified. Power thinks they're delicate little weirdos, and the episode ends on the most Denji punchline possible.
Well, if it isn't the shit devil whose turds turn to cement and stick to the bowl!
Denji is in the bathroom trying to unclog the toilet when Power shows up and taps her chest. Like, alright, deal time. She sits on the toilet like it's a throne and tells him he gets 3 squeezes. 1 for saving Meowie, 1 for killing the Bat Devil, and 1 for protecting her from Aki Hayakawa. Denji is so excited he genuinely thinks she's an angel, which leads directly into episode 5. After Makima explains the truth about the Gun Devil and promises Denji 1 wish if he kills it, the next mission begins. But before that mission even happens, Denji's head is somewhere else entirely. He got what he thought he always wanted. Power let him touch her chest, not once, 3 times, and when it didn't feel magical, when it didn't feel life-changing, she casually revealed she'd been using padding. The whole thing was staged. Denji stood there dumbstruck, wondering if that was really it. The dream he'd chased for so long felt hollow. The next day, he's spacing out on patrol. He doesn't even have an appetite. In the office, Makima notices immediately. She makes him sign documents, but she's watching him carefully. When she asks what's wrong, Denji admits it. He got what he wanted, and it didn't feel good. He wonders out loud if the chase is better than the reward, if maybe happiness disappears once you actually grab it. Makima listens, then she takes his hand. She tells him that intimacy feels different when you know the person. She studies his fingers, asks if anyone's ever bitten him before. Then she bites his finger herself, slow, deliberate, and tells him to remember the feeling. Even if he can't see her, he should be able to recognize her by the way she bites. She places his hand on her chest. The moment is controlled, intentional. Denji panics and falls backwards. And that's when she gives him the real hook. She wants him to kill the Gun Devil. She explains what happened 13 years ago, the terrorist attack in America. Guns everywhere, fear spreading like wildfire, and then the Gun Devil appeared. Within 5 minutes, it killed 1.2 million people worldwide. 5 minutes, cities destroyed, families erased. She shows him bullets, fragments of the Gun Devil's flesh. When the devil moves at high speed, pieces burn off and detach. If another devil eats those pieces, it grows stronger. The fragments attract each other. Once enough gather, they'll head back to the gun devil's body. If Denji kills it, she'll grant him one wish. Anything. For Denji, that's all he needs. For Aki, it's something else entirely. 13 years ago, he was just a kid trying to play catch. His younger brother Tayo wasn't feeling well. Their father told Aki to play alone. Tayo followed him outside anyway. They threw snowballs at each other, fought like brothers. Aki eventually told him to go back inside before he caught a cold. Tayo ran back toward the house. Moments later, the house was obliterated. The gun devil passed through their city in seconds. Aki lost his entire family in a flash. Outside the building, Aki tests the fragment he's carrying. The piece reacts towards the hotel. It vibrates faintly, pulled towards something inside. Not strong enough to suggest the gun devil itself, but enough to confirm a connection. 6 devil hunters are assigned: Aki, Himeno, Denji, Power, Kobeni, and Hirokazu. Hirokazu doesn't trust Denji or Power. Aki bluntly tells him he doesn't need to. If they run, they can be killed. Denji and Power whisper that Aki's probably still mad about their morning prank. Aki snaps back that it wasn't even a prank. Himeno tells him not to be so hard on the kids. Denji demands a reward for not resting after the Bat Devil fight. Himeno casually announces whoever kills the devil gets a kiss on the cheek. Denji gets excited, then remembers Makima. He tries to act mature and says he's saving himself for someone else. He even repeats Makima's line about intimacy feeling better when you know the person. Himeno leans in closer and upgrades the offer. French kiss. Denji bolts into the hotel first. Hirokazu runs after him, arguing that Himeno's been taking care of him for months and some random kid can't just steal her lips. Power and Kobeni start arguing too. The whole entrance turns chaotic. Aki wonders if the newbies are any good. Himeno admits Hirokazu isn't strong, but he's motivated. Kobeni isn't brave, but she's strong. Aki says in a year they'll either die or quit. Himeno quietly tells Aki not to die. Inside, they sweep the floors. It feels routine at first. Doors kicked open, rooms checked, blood stains noted. Then Himeno stops. The devil is coming. A twisted head with a hand and foot attached lunges at Kobeni and freezes midair. Power slices it clean in half and brags that it got scared of her. Himeno corrects her. She froze it using the ghost devil's arm. She traded her right eye for that ability. It's not the target though. They move on. Power asks if it was smart to reveal her ability. What if she goes wild? Himeno casually says she has an ace up her sleeve. Power wonders what happens if Himeno kills Kobeni. Himeno instantly grabs Power mid-sentence with the ghost devil and reminds her she could kill her anytime. Power tries grabbing the arm, but her hands pass straight through. Because ghost devil? They continue up. Hirokazu notices a blood splatter identical to the one on the previous floor. He checks the signage. They're still on the 8th floor. They try going up again. Still the 8th. Hirokazu runs downstairs. The rest watch him emerge from above. The floors are looping. The clocks are frozen at 8:18. Windows don't open properly. Stairwells don't lead anywhere. The entire hotel has become a closed space. Episode 6. The reality of being trapped on the 8th floor starts to wear on everyone. They've confirmed there's no way out. Stairs loop, windows connect to identical rooms, the elevators don't function. Even breaking through ceilings just drops them back where they started. Time itself is frozen at 8:18. No rescue is coming. At first, they try to manage it. Water and electricity still work, there's leftover food from guests who fled, but the longer they're stuck, the worse it gets. Kobeni spirals. She cries, shakes, talks about drinking toilet water, ew, and eventually has to be knocked out when she completely loses control. Power, on the other hand, treats it like a minor inconvenience. She naps, rambles about winning a Nobel Prize, and barely processes the danger. Aki keeps searching for a solution, refusing to rest. Himeno stays ready, checking on everyone, sharing cigarettes, keeping morale from collapsing entirely, but outside the rooms, something is changing. The Eternity Devil is growing. It finally blocks the hallway with a massive wall of flesh and makes its proposal clear. Give it Denji, dead or alive, and it will release everyone else. It explains that this space is its stomach. They're inside it. It doesn't need to rush. Fear makes it stronger. That's when the tension fractures. Kobeni, convinced they're all going to die, grabs a knife and lunges at Denji, insisting he sacrifice himself. Aki stops her immediately. He refuses the deal. If the devil wants Denji that badly, there's a reason. He even considers using his sword, the one tied to a contract that shortens his lifespan, but Himeno physically stops him. She knows what that blade costs him. The devil keeps expanding, feeding on their fear. The floor tilts, the space warps, panic spikes, and in the middle of it, Denji makes his own decision. He realizes something simple. The Eternity Devil is afraid of him. That's why it wants him killed without a fight. That's why it's trying to manipulate the group into turning on him. So instead of waiting, instead of being the bargaining chip, Denji pulls his starter cord, he jumps straight into the devil's body. Episode 7. Denji fights inside the Eternity Devil for 3 days straight. The moment Himeno pulls his cord and revs him back up, he doesn't hesitate. He throws himself deeper into the devil's flesh like it's a tunnel he plans to carve all the way through. He slashes blindly at first, hacking at whatever muscle, tissue, and bone he can reach. The Eternity Devil laughs, taunting him, saying it's pointless, its heart isn't there, and cutting randomly won't kill it. Multiple grotesque heads sprout from the walls of flesh and start biting down on Denji's body. They chew through him, rip chunks out of him. Power yells that if he keeps losing blood, his chainsaws will retract. And she's right. As his blood drains, the engines slow. The blades shrink back. The devil mocks him, saying the chainsaw has already grown weaker. But Denji doesn't panic. Instead, he bites back. Literally. He sinks his teeth into the Eternity Devil's flesh and starts drinking its blood. The moment he refuels, he pulls his cord again and the chainsaws roar back to life. Himeno watches it unfold and remembers something Kishibe once told her at Sahara's grave. Devils fear hunters with a few screws loose. The sane ones die first. Sahara was sane. So were Kanochi, Subaru, Sasaki. They feared the devil, and that fear made it stronger. Kishibe had asked her if Aki was sane too. She answered that no sane person would chase the gun devil. Watching Denji now, she understands it fully. He's not normal. He doesn't fight with fear, he fights with obsession and hunger. 3 days pass. Himeno eventually lies beside Aki and quietly tells him it's finished. Not because the devil won, but because Denji won't stop. Finally, the Eternity Devil breaks. It exposes its heart, begs him to kill it. Denji, almost confused that it's already over, shrugs and slices the heart clean apart. The team walks out alive. Denji is carrying a piece of gun devil flesh like a prize. He feels victorious for about 5 seconds, then collapses mid-stride because he's literally fought for 72 hours straight. Himeno catches him before he hits the ground and realizes he just fell asleep standing up. They decide Aki and Denji are going straight to the hospital. Kobeni and Arai are told to report everything back to the sector. Later, Himeno suggests something unexpected. A welcome party. Division 4 has never actually gathered together socially before. Too many deaths, too much turnover. She wants the newbies to bond. More importantly, she wants to keep Kobeni and Arai from quitting after the hotel disaster. They're shaken, not just from fear of devils, but from the guilt of nearly turning on Denji. Aki agrees, but if they're doing it, it has to be this week. He wants Makima there before she leaves for a work trip. Division 4 gathers at a bar. When someone asks about a missing newbie, Fushi bluntly says he died yesterday. That's the job. Himeno loudly declares that Denji won't die because he's waiting for a kiss from her. She's kissed everyone else in the division except the newbies. Denji lights up at the promise, his first guaranteed kiss. Makima arrives late. Denji immediately panics about being caught between promises. Himeno teases him, asking if he still wants her kiss. He does, desperately. But Makima's presence makes everything complicated. Makima overhears talk about kissing and casually asks Denji about it. He denies everything instantly. Himeno presses him. He admits he wants it. Makima shifts the conversation smoothly when Denji mentions the gun devil flesh. She already knows. Aki points out that more devils with gun devil fragments are appearing, and one specifically targeted Denji. He subtly questions if Makima knows more about Denji than she's letting on. Makima smiles and says she'll tell him, if he can outdrink her. The contest begins. Beer after beer after beer. Himeno pulls Denji in for his promised kiss. He feels her tongue, then something warm and liquid liquid floods into his mouth. She vomits directly into it. Everyone freezes for half a second, then bursts into laughter. Power points out that Denji has a habit of swallowing anything with nutritional value, and in pure survival reflex, he swallows it. Ugh, gross. He flashes back to childhood, scavenging in trash cans, watching rats eat a drunk man's vomit, and laughing at how pathetic that seemed. Now, he's the one swallowing it. That's Chainsaw Man. Denji ends up vomiting in the bathroom. Hirokazu helps him, explaining he's used to it because his mother gets drunk every night after work. He envies Denji's natural talent as a devil hunter. Denji laughs weakly and tells him there's nothing to envy. His first kiss was vomit. After the party, Himeno carries Denji home. He wakes up later, dizzy and thirsty. She climbs on top of him and feeds him beer, mouth to mouth again. She wonders out loud why he's here, wonders if she brought him home. She guesses he loves Makima. She admits she's annoyed that both he and Aki like Makima. Then she lies next to him and says they should do it. Episode 8. The episode opens almost deceptively calm. Denji wakes up in Himeno's apartment after the party, sunlight cutting through the curtains. His head is still foggy from the night before. Himeno is there too, hungover, messy, and still drunk enough to blur boundaries. She teases him, leans in close, and tries to seduce him outright. At one point, she even shares beer mouth to mouth again, laughing like it's harmless. It's awkward and uncomfortable and very real. Denji's brain short circuits. Part of him absolutely wants this. He's Denji, but right as he's about to give in, he feels something in his pocket. A lollipop. Makima gave it to him. That memory drags him back to the night before. After Himeno's chaotic vomit-filled kiss at the party, Makima had quietly pulled Denji outside for air. She gave him medicine, wiped him down, and spoke to him gently, like he mattered. She told him he'd have plenty of better firsts to replace the bad ones. Then she took a lollipop she'd been licking and placed it in his mouth. His first indirect kiss. It was calculated, intimate, and completely disarming. That moment hits Denji hard in Himeno's apartment. He apologizes to Pochita in his head, almost like he's confessing, and decides he's saving himself for Makima. The next morning feels lighter. Himeno wakes him up for breakfast, embarrassed and relieved she was blackout drunk. She nervously jokes that she hopes she didn't cross a line, that she could have gotten arrested since he's technically still a minor. Denji doesn't sugarcoat it. He tells her he's not sleeping with the vomit lady and that he's saving himself for Makima. Himeno laughs it off but presses him. What if Makima had a terrible personality? Would he still love her?
What if you learned her true character is as shitty as a septic tank?
I love shit.
That's when Himeno opens up for real. She admits she has feelings for Aki. Real ones, but she suspects Aki might like Makima too. There's jealousy there, insecurity, so they make a pact. Himeno will help Denji get closer to Makima. Denji will help her get closer to Aki. She calls them friends now. Not senior and junior, not coworkers, friends. And then, everything collapses. Makima is on a train heading to Kyoto for a meeting. She's calm, reflective, even thinking about how fun the drinking party was. Then two men sitting nearby pull out guns and shoot her and her assistant point blank in the head. The men make a call. The operation can proceed. Across Tokyo, ordinary civilians suddenly draw weapons and begin executing public safety members in coordinated ambushes. Kobeni and Arai are attacked in an alley. Meanwhile, Denji, Aki, Himeno, and Power are sitting in a ramen shop, completely unaware. Then a man at the counter starts talking. He mocks Denji for eating so happily when he grew up starving. There's something off about him. Then he pulls out a photograph, him and his grandfather, the same Yakuza boss who enslaved Denji and had him killed back in episode 1. Then he reveals the real motive. The gun devil wants Denji's heart, and before anyone can react, he shoots Denji point blank in the forehead. Himeno takes a bullet to the chest. Power reacts first, punching the man across the room. Aki summons the Fox Devil to swallow him whole. It looks decisive, until the Fox Devil hesitates. It warns them, whatever it just consumed isn't human. And it isn't devil either. The man bursts out of the Fox Devil's head, shredding through it. He's a hybrid, just like Denji. This is Katana Man. Aki doesn't hesitate. He draws his sword, and drives it into Katana Man 3 times. A voice counts down. 3, 2, 1. The Curse Devil manifests behind Katana Man and impales him brutally. It looks final, but then a blonde woman steps into view, Akane Sawatari. She calmly analyzes what just happened. She figures out the curse mechanism instantly. She places her hand on Katana Man and revives him. Katana Man moves with impossible speed and slashes Aki down before anyone can intervene. Himeno is bleeding heavily. She knows she won't survive this, so she makes her final decision. She offers everything to the Ghost Devil. The Ghost Devil fully manifests, enormous and horrifying. It begins tearing into Katana Man with overwhelming force. Himeno fights through the pain. She pins Katana Man down, determined to finish it. In her final thoughts, she reflects on how devil hunters eventually grow numb to death, but Aki never did. Aki always cried for the ones they lost. She hopes he'll cry for her. Then Sawatari summons the Snake Devil. One bite. The snake lunges forward and tears the Ghost Devil's head clean off. And just like that, Himeno disappears. Episode 9. Right after Himeno vanishes, her Ghost Devil's hand reaches out one last time and pulls Denji's cord. The rev of the engine snaps through the silence, and Denji jolts back to life as Chainsaw Man. He looks at Katana Man and Sawatari, and actually grins. There's something disturbingly honest about what he says next.
No one gives a shit when I carve him up.
The rematch starts instantly, and it's vicious. Chainsaws grind against steel as Katana Man meets him head-on. Denji swings wide and loud. Katana Man counters with sharp, precise slashes meant to finish the fight quickly. But Sawatari isn't going to let this stay one-on-one. She calls in backup. Two gunmen rush in and start unloading rounds directly at Denji, carefully targeting his arms and chest. Denji reacts fast, grabbing one of the gunmen and yanking him in front as a human shield. He threatens to kill the guy if Katana Man takes another step. Katana Man doesn't hesitate. He drops low, then vanishes forward in a blur. The slash is so fast it almost doesn't register. Denji's body splits apart. Katana Man lifts the severed top half by the chainsaw handle on Denji's head like he's holding up a trophy. But then the tone shifts completely. On that train, Makima stands up. The passengers are screaming. She tells them the blood isn't hers. There's no panic in her voice, no urgency. Then she decides she doesn't need to go back to Tokyo to respond. She'll handle it from Kyoto. She orders Kurose to gather 30 convicts serving life sentences. She tells Tendo to find the highest shrine nearby. Her voice stays calm. That's what makes it worse. What follows is one of the most disturbing sequences in the entire series. Makima stands at the shrine with the blindfolded convicts lined up before her. One by one, she approaches them and tells each to say a name. A specific enemy currently in Tokyo. The convict speaks the name. Makima forms a gun shape with her fingers and repeats it softly. The convict is crushed instantly. Far away in Tokyo, the person whose name was spoken explodes into a bloody pulp. Bones snap inward. Faces cave in. It happens again and again and again. The crows overhead lift off with every kill, like messengers carrying out her will. Sawatari pieces it together. Makima. The woman they were told had died. She understands too late that they've walked into something far bigger than a simple ambush. Then, the focus shifts to Kobeni, and everything changes. A flashback reveals what happened during her ambush. After Arai took the bullets for her, something inside Kobeni snapped into survival mode. She dodged the shooter's aim with terrifying speed, closed the distance, and forced the woman to shoot herself. In the present, Kobeni appears out of nowhere like a completely different person. She dodges Sawatari's Snake Devil attack by inches, slices off Katana Man's gun arm, snatches his weapon, and shoots him in the back before he can react. The crying, anxious girl from earlier just turned into the most efficient fighter in the room. Once she's alone with Denji's body, she apologizes for trying to kill him during the Eternity Devil incident. She blames herself for Arai's death. She admits she never wanted this job, and her family forced her into it, and says she's quitting after this because the work is breaking her mind. Makima arrives back in Tokyo with Kurose and Tendo. The casualty report is devastating. Almost every human member of Divisions 1 through 4 are dead. Only devils and fiends remain. The surviving divisions are merged into a single unit under Makima's direct command. It consolidates power neatly under her authority. Madoka, one of her subordinates, resigns on the spot. He says the situation feels sinister and questions how much she knew before the ambush happened. Episode 10. After all that chaos, this episode slows things down, but it hits just as hard. Aki wakes up in a hospital bed to find Denji and Power sitting right next to him, casually reading manga and eating the fruit from his get-well baskets. They break the news. The attack wiped out most of public safety's devil hunters. Only a handful survived. Aki's still processing. He's holding Himeno's eye patch. Then it hits him. She's really gone. He breaks down crying, clutching that eye patch like it's the last piece of her in the world. And it is. The Kyoto hunters who helped Makima show up as Aki's new mentors. Makima assigned them since Aki is one of the few experienced humans left. They don't sugarcoat anything. They tell him straight up, if you want to quit after losing Himeno, do it now. The paperwork's ready tomorrow. But Aki refuses. He's not stopping until the gun devil is dead. He made that promise to himself and to Himeno. Then comes the gut punch. Aki checks how much time his Curse Devil contract has left on his life. 2 years. That's all he's got. Meanwhile, Makima pulls Denji and Power aside. She explains that the gun devil, or whoever's working with it, specifically wants Denji's heart. To get them ready, she assigns them a new trainer, Kishibe. This guy is a legend. Scarred face, always drinking, and known as the strongest human devil hunter alive. Kishibe wastes zero time. He walks up to Denji and Power and just starts beating the life out of them. Literally. He kills them over and over and over, dozens of times. But since Denji's a hybrid and Power's a fiend, they just keep coming back. Kishibe's method is simple. He'll keep killing them until they learn to actually fight smart instead of swinging wild. Devils fear nothing except other devils, he tells them, so become something scarier. Denji and Power try all kinds of tricks to outsmart him. Sneak attacks, team combos, surprise moves, nothing works. Kishibe shuts them down every single time. But slowly, little by little, they start getting better. They're not winning yet, but they're lasting longer. They're thinking instead of just charging in. That's progress. On Aki's side, Kurose and Tendo take him to a high-security prison where dangerous devils are locked up. They explain that most devil contracts cost something steep. Your lifespan, your body parts, your senses. But Aki needs more power if he wants any shot at the gun devil, and he's willing to pay whatever it costs. They bring him to a cell. Inside is the future devil. Episode 11. Denji and Power are still getting destroyed by Kishibe in training. Tomorrow they join the real mission. Capture Katana Man and Sawatari alive. Meanwhile, Aki steps into the future devil's cell with Kurose and Tendo, and this devil is unhinged. The future devil bursts out dancing, spinning in circles, chanting, "The future rules!" over and over like it's hosting its own party. Then it stops and says it wants to look at Aki's future. It tells him to stick his head inside the hole in its body so it can see what's coming. Aki doesn't hesitate. He does it. The future devil goes quiet for a second, then it bursts into hysterical laughter. It offers the contract for free. It'll live inside Aki's right eye and allow him to see a few seconds into the future. Why free? Because according to the future devil, the way Aki is going to die is the worst possible way for a human to die, and it thinks that's hilarious. It wants to experience that moment firsthand. He accepts the contract and walks out. Over in another part of the city, Makima handles things her own way. She visits a Yakuza boss connected to Katana Man's grandfather. Calm, polite, she asks for the names of every single Yakuza member with a contract tied to the gun devil. The boss denies everything, says he doesn't know about the attacks, claims ignorance. Makima doesn't argue. She has blindfolded bags brought into the room. Inside them are the eyes of his loved ones. The boss breaks immediately. He gives her every name. Now it's time for the mission briefing. Kishibe gathers what's left of Division 4. Most of the humans are gone. Replacements have arrived, and they're anything but normal. There's Beam, the shark fiend, completely unhinged. He can swim through floors and walls like they're water. Galgali, the violence fiend, wearing a plague doctor mask, polite, soft-spoken, hits like a freight train. Princey, the spider devil, silent, unsettling, moving on multiple legs without making a sound, and the angel devil. Lazy, distant, beautiful in a detached way. Anyone he touches loses lifespan instantly. Aki moves differently now. With the future devil inside his eye, he sees attacks before they happen. He dodges strikes seconds before they land. He finds Sawatari. She summons the snake devil, but then the snake devil opens its mouth and spits something out. Himeno's ghost devil, the one that vanished when she died. It lunges at Aki and wraps its invisible hands around his throat. This is Himeno's devil attacking her own partner. Episode 12. The finale wastes absolutely zero time. Aki is already in trouble, lifted off the ground, and then a cigarette slips out of the ghost devil's body and lands in front of him. Written on the paper, "Easy revenge," Himeno's words. Aki understands immediately, climbs up the ghost devil's arm while it flails blindly, and with one clean, decisive swing of his sword, cuts its head off. The gun devil, the ambush, the reason behind everything. But Sawatari was never planning to be captured. Her snake devil contract activates instantly. In one brutal motion, the snake bites, and her own head is severed before she can say another word. Meanwhile, on the rooftop, the last fight is about to happen. Denji steps out of the elevator to face Katana Man. He pulls the cord in his chest. The chainsaws roar to life. The rematch explodes immediately. Chainsaw blades slam against steel. Sparks scatter across the rooftop. Kishibe's training shows in the way he fights. He doesn't rush blindly, he reads patterns. He waits for openings. He dodges with purpose instead of panic. He grabs Katana Man, slams him to the ground, and revs a chainsaw straight into his groin. When Aki arrives fresh from his own fight, he joins in. The two of them take turns kicking Katana Man, competing over who can get the loudest scream out of him before the police arrive. In the aftermath, Makima gives her report. The attack was orchestrated under the gun devil's influence through Sawatari. Aki sits alone smoking the cigarette Himeno left for him, processing everything. Denji and Power are passed out nearby, asleep like nothing happened. Season 2 is going to be wild. Let me know what you thought of this breakdown, and I'll see you in the next one.